All right, welcome everybody. I want to say thank you so much for coming. I'm Dr. Sage Wolfe. I've been doing Wolfe Non-Surgical for the Doctorate Detox, BraveHeart Nation for the past 10 years. And I've just kind of come to learn different modalities and healing strategies to really open up the body, let go of the weight that's being attached on our shoulders and in our mind, because your body was not sick in the first place. It came from some thought. And yes, of course, we can have physical injuries. We can have stress and traumas that we go through that can cause us to feel like more adhesed and adiposed. But where did it begin? And so today I'm going to be going over first a little bit of the emotional aspect of everything. And then we want to talk a little bit about diet, because not everybody has the best diet. And then we're going to go into non-surgical and what is non-surgical work and why do we want to do it, and stem away from going directly to the medical system and thinking that we just need to give away our joints. Because God does not make junk. You are special and you need to own that. And that is like a given. And so the question is, you need to be questioning yourself every single day. What makes you happy? What makes you tick? We're all different beings. What I like, he might not. What I have, you might not. We all have different symptoms. Come on in. We all have different symptoms. We all have different ailments. And you know what? It's just a weak link in the body saying you haven't paid enough attention and it's time to wake up. And so, why did it get to that way in the first place? Sure, is it overwhelming expectations from our family members? Is it not feeling good enough about yourself? Is it saying, I'm going to play a little bit of the victim game, and the world's hurt me? Everybody has the same backstory to a degree. Even in a movie, villains and heroes have the exact same story. It's the villain, the world hurt me and I'm going to hurt it back. The hero says, the world hurt me and I'm not going to let that happen again, because I don't want anybody else to go through what I went through. And it's about bringing yourself up, bringing your vibration up on an emotional, physical, and nutritional level on a daily basis. And if you're not working, striving to do that, you're going to get taken under. Because if we look out here, guys, not everything out there is really that positive. There's a lot more negative than there is positive. Because if you're not focused on you, yourself, and because in the end, that me focusing on myself and my self-love is going to reciprocate to the other people in my life. But if I just look out every single day, are your friends happy? Are you happy in your relationship with your spouse? Are your parents truly happy? And I don't mean like happiness like, oh yeah, that dog made me like smile. Sure, you can be happy for a moment. But 90% of the day, people live in chaos and fear. How dare you? No, so no, don't be at all. No sorries. Things happen. Push. There you go. And so, things happen all the time. We get caught off track. We get caught off guard. How long do you want to stay in that low vibration for? So, sure, somebody tells me they love me. That makes me feel great. But if somebody tells me like, ooh, they don't really like what I say, they don't like how I act, am I going to allow that one person's frequency and vibration? Because you know what? Not everybody's going to agree with you. And if you think you're going to come to this world, this planet, and think everybody's going to like me, I'm going to have the easiest go, you might as well opt out. Because this is a fun-filled adventure, but it's supposed to torment you a little bit to see how strong you truly are. Are you strong enough to overcome that heartbreak? Are you strong enough to overcome that loss from that family member? These things happen all the time, and there is no stopping it. You're not going to make it out of here alive, and I can promise you that. And so, why the hell are you bagging on yourself over stuff that you can't control? It's all right in front of you. You have to be taking action on a daily basis. And it first starts in that emotional being. So when you look in that mirror in the morning, do I see somebody I truly love? Do I see somebody that's sexy and that has energy and that just wants to really live life? Or do I feel like, I could be better. I don't like that wrinkle. There's always this. There's always that. There's always going to be a complaint. Why don't you learn to take action and love you for you and know that there's some things that you can do out there that will get you to whatever that nirvana wants to be? I want to focus on my health. Okay. then what direction of your health do you want to go in? Every single person in here is different. Some people want to lose weight. Some people want to gain weight. Some people want to get more muscular. Some people want to have more mobility. Some people just don't want to be debilitated. Yes, injuries happen. And that is the body's way of like saying, maybe slow down a little bit. Accidents happen. There's some things that you just can't control. But there's a reason for it. Maybe you weren't aware. Maybe you weren't slowing down enough. There's so many things, there's a plethora of things that can come into play to why you're not enough. And so if we start to remove these things on a daily basis by doing some self-love work, by looking in that mirror and telling myself how much I love myself, by when I get into the car and I look in that rear view mirror and I match eyes with me, I'm actually happy to see that person. If you're not, the love you're giving out is going to be so superficial, and the love that you receive from others, it's fake. Because it's never going to be authentic, because you were never authentic to yourself. So you don't know what you truly want. So if you're not willing on a daily basis to figure out some form of program, it doesn't need to be ridiculous. But what are your goals? Write them down. And they don't need to be, don't just be like, oh, I have 20, 70 goals. Like, where is your main focus? What do you want? What do you want it to look like? How do you want to feel? How do you want to look? All these things are baby steps that we got to take. And the thing is, you're going to trip up. And that's the fun of it. You can't bag on yourself when you trip up, because falling is amazing, but you have to fall forward. Some people take 1 step forward, 5 steps back, and they think it's normal. And they're like, oh yeah, the world screwed me over. And I'm like, so what'd you do that night that you got angry? Anytime you're angry, did you really go for that salad? Did you go to stretch? Did you go to take a cold shower or do some vascular flushing for yourself? Or I got really pissed off tonight and I just wasn't feeling so good, so I grabbed that tub of ice cream and some chips and I threw a movie on, and that's just where my night went. Okay, wonderful. So you're in a shitty state, and then you just put crap into your body to even lower your frequency even more, to put toxins into your tissues, to make you feel even more sluggish. You can literally test it. Eat really healthy for 1 month. And can you do it, guys? Can you do it? It's 30 days of a lifetime. It's not a lot. People think that, oh, this is like, it's just too much. It's just too much taking these products. It's just too much eating healthy. You're wasting more time and energy eating unhealthy because you don't have the energy for yourself. And like, I can go back to myself, and I've done this to myself many times. Nobody is perfect. You have to strive for perfection, but know it's not achievable. You're perfect right now, but you better be better tomorrow. You better try something that you didn't want to try tomorrow, because it's about taking those action steps. Even just like 2 months ago, we all go through stuff. And so I came out of an engagement about a year ago, and me and my ex just kind of came past each other. And it just brought up feelings and sensations that maybe I wasn't ready to deal with at the time. And I started indulging in just like a lot of fast food and drinking a bit of alcohol. And I could literally, I didn't see it until my body said, wake up. But your lack of motivation comes in. You start to get a little bit of depression coming in. That anxiety starts to kick in. And that's just not just from the foods. We live in a bombarding environment. There's EMF in every single building you're going to go into. There's toxins everywhere you're going to breathe. Half of the shampoo in your showers are putting the worst parabens into your system. And so you're absorbing all this toxicity and chemicals. So it's like, it takes generally 30 to 72 hours for a cell to start to fully clean itself. But that's just from doing one bad thing. I smoked a cigarette today, and now, so you now have 30 to 72 hours for your cells to want to clean itself. But then what'd you eat for dinner? And then where was your emotions? And then what'd you put in yourself the next day? And it doesn't compound onto each other. So it's not like, oh, I did it 2 days in a row, and now it's 60 to 100 hours or something like that. It doesn't matter, but it's how much can we damage those cells? How much can we put in damage until it becomes a part of us? So people are always like, oh, I just got cancer. You just got cancer? No, we all have cancer cells in our body. You've been activating them for so long. You've been diminishing your body for so long to where that 30 hours is not 30 hours anymore. Every single day, it's toxins coming into the system to change over what my metabolic process wants to actually happen. And so it's about being really mindful of, are you putting the right things in your body? Are you hanging around the right people? Are you doing the right activation daily? Because you know what? I don't care who you are. You can eat as healthy as you want. Stagnation kills. If you don't use it, you lose it. And that is one of the main things. You need to know, like, if you're not going to activate something, if I noticed my shoulder being bad, and I had a lovely lady come up to me today. Oh, she's booked, or they want to book her in for hip surgery. And the doctor said, try not to move it so much. Why would I try not to move something that's adhesing? If something is turning into ice, wouldn't I want to raise the temperature and melt that ice that is like causing that calcification buildup? Wouldn't I want to alkaline my body a little bit more to change over my structure? Because no matter what, if your blood is toxic, your body will always pull the pH from your blood and then calcium to buffer down the inflammation that's going down into the area. So for you, it's a hip. For me, it's a shoulder. We all have weak links. You've had a lifetime of living. So did you fall when you were a kid on your shoulder? Did you get into a couple car accidents? And then yes, sure, some of your genetic makeup has some play in, but it's also that family curse that we talk about. My mom had brain cancer. I might have brain cancer. My mom had glaucoma. I'm starting to get glaucoma. No, you wanted glaucoma because your mom had glaucoma and you just think that's natural. You know what? Deterioration is totally okay. But the rate that we deteriorate at, it's not right. It's not right. Do you look outside and do you really think that this average is normal? It's so far from beyond the truth. So your friends, your family, yes, love them as much as possible. But you got to take a step back from that and say, what do I need? What do I deserve? Where does the love for yourself lie? Is it this much or is it this much? So start small. Make sure you can get that 3 liters of water in your body a day. People, 3 liters? The body doesn't need that much water. Why would you need that much water? The thing is, maybe you didn't if you had a really stagnant lifestyle and you didn't live in a city where, there's EMFs out there bombarding your nervous system, where I'm in shock. So if I don't alkaline my body a bit, or you start to release that hack, as we call it, histamine, adrenaline, and cortisol, that no matter what will set off more inflammation. Stress will set off more inflammation in the body than any other diet. So why is the 90-year-old who smokes a pack of cigarettes a day, drinks 6 beers, sure, when he gets up, you look at him and you're like, wow, that guy's out of shape. But he's still rocking it. Why? He absolutely loves his life. He loves the way it is. He loves how he feels when he drinks his beer at night. It is just his routine. Amazing. That guy is going to last until he doesn't, until the body says, you know what, I'm going to roll until the wheels fall off. But then we have the 30-year-old vegan who really goes to the gym quite often, and they just got stage 3 pancreatic cancer. Why'd that happen? Because it's the level of love. They don't love doing that lifestyle. They haven't loved living their life for themselves. Their body just says, hey, I don't care how much health you put into me. I don't want to be here. I don't deserve to be here. Because a lot of us have a program of unworthiness going on to some degree. And I'm not saying, you don't love yourself. That's not true at all. Everybody in here has some form of love for yourself. You made it here. That's fantastic. But there's a lot of things that you do on a daily basis that aren't it. You're not carrying around a water bottle with you. You're not smiling at yourself in the mirror. You're not smiling to others because you just think, the world's uptight. No, you're uptight. And so we got to really find the people around us. It's going to be few and far between. I tell people it all the time. I have tons of friends. I don't have any friends. People don't really like people want to be my friend, but I don't know if I want to truly indulge myself into that lifestyle. As soon as you become close friends with somebody, you're having a part of their personality become yours. It's impossible not to. It's either partner, friends, family. You're going to have a part of that become a part of you. You can't get away from it. And so You got to really hang out around that maybe, and it might be 3 in your lifetime, it might be 5, 7 people if you're lucky, that are really going to have that switch turned on saying, you don't deserve to do that for yourself. It's not too good. I want you to do this. I think it's better. You're not going to have a lot of people looking out for you. And if you do have those people in your life right now that you say are truly looking out for your well-being, you should be blessed and cherish them. But no, it's time to you bring your frequency up to theirs and push each other. Because we either need to make a band of people who want to become a healthier, wealthier, mindful person, and then we all could become maybe a healthy population. But right now, where the world is going, there is more evil out there than there is positivity. And so you need to be working every day, doing something, 15, 20, 30 minutes. You have it for yourself. And if you don't deserve to be healthy and happy, because it's you putting yourself on the back burner all the time. And so we just want to be a mindful, light being. So if you're drinking water, guys, 3 liters of water a day, for 3.5 for men, 3 for women. If you make at least 2 to 2.5, I'm happy. But if you feel like, oh gosh, I just pee so much, you know what? Your bladder will expand. You've just shrunken it to the size of a raisin. So anytime a couple little droplets go down there, it's like, oh, I gotta go. But then you still have some stuff left over in that bag. But also, are you drinking proper water? So, what is proper water? Proper water would be like structured water. Really fast. So if you're gonna drink bottled water, which is awful, it better be spring water. That Dasani crap, don't even go there. You got to drink some form of spring water, natural spring water, where it's churned over rocks and minerals. Why? To this day, how many cars do we have? Trains, planes, way more than we used to. But when it rains, the flowers jump for joy. The deers aren't dying because it's structured water. It's water that God gives us. It's not going to harm you. So if you have a beautiful running river, I could put toxins in a kilometer up the road. As long as it churns over tons of rocks and minerals, by the time it gets down here, you'll be able to drink it. But if it's that cesspool, that beaver dam, that slows things down, and the same thing is happening within our bodies. So what kind of water are you drinking? Structured water is great. If you're a really, really acidic person, alkaline water is okay, but that's going to be, we got to calm this down. And other than that, you should start sprinkling minerals into your water. So, Himalayan sea salt, about 62 minerals. Wonderful. Celtic salt, we're going to get up there. We're getting to 82 minerals. Even better. Doesn't really taste the best, so it doesn't need to be salty water. It just needs to have a sprinkle, or even just put a sprinkle on your tongue before you drink. It'll allow, because your body, only your small and large intestine absorbs so much water. Your muscles take on a lot as well. And so I need that salt in my water to make sure I'm absorbing it properly. So anytime you're drinking a glass of water, just a little sprinkle. Or a lot if you want more minerals, if you feel like you're running low. So the water is going to be huge, guys. That's like a number 1 for me. And then, so if you're drinking the water, great. Over time, your bladder will expand. Then we could go into, is your lymphatic system moving? How does your lymphatic system move? There is 3 main ways. Sweating, peeing, and pooing. There's no other way to move that lymph. Other than, yeah, sure, go for a lymphatic drainage. You're going to push stuff along. But the thing is, that's not you moving your lymph. That is us moving some toxicity out of our lymph areas, which is wonderful because some people are just way too backed up. And moving that out helps get things going. Makes you feel lighter. I love it. But are you doing a little bit of exercise every day? And I'm like, if you're wheelchair bound and you can only move your neck, move your neck. If you're paraplegic, move your arms and upper body, get some little weights going on. Other than that, walking, not exercise, guys. So I need you to do some form of something fun. Turn some music on if you don't like exercising and dance. Learn how to foam roll. If you foam roll your whole body out and really open up the muscle bellies within the back, the thighs, the shoulders, by the end of it, you feel like you worked out. And so foam rolling, I'll show it towards the end. Super fantastic. Everybody should have one in their home. But that doing a little bit of exercise to get a sweat going is going to get the lymph turned on. And then, did your bowels move today? And I mean going number 2. Once, twice, 3 times. Great. then we can move the lymph that way. And then if we're peeing constantly, that is amazing as well. People talk about, oh, I have to pee so often, like it's a bad thing. Sure, sometimes it impedes little situations, but it's so amazing. It's showing I'm flushing out more of what's stuck in me, because the world is just putting more and more in us no matter what. It doesn't matter. You go to an airport, you get radiation. You go to drink a bottle of water, you're getting microplastics in your system. You go to have any kind of food, even from a general restaurant that you think is good. Half of it contains seed oils, so now it's just kind of making your body go rancid and it's attacking itself. There's like not a lot of ways to get out of this place and be like, wow, I got scot-free. Nah, good luck. And so it's about constantly being a mindful being. You guys, you're an essence of God. We all have an attachment of something to a higher power. How do you think you're here? Do you know the possibility of you actually being here? I think it's like 68 million or something. Like, be blessed every day. And that's people are like, oh, it's the question. If I said, like, how happy would you be if I gave you $10 million right now? Probably pretty happy. But what if I said you can't wake up tomorrow? Then why the hell are you not treating yourself like $10 million every single day? You deserve the world, and you can take it. You can take back your health. You can take back your happiness. It's just about taking those action steps moving forward. And you can't do it alone. So it's about finding those people who are slightly like-minded. Oh, this person likes yoga. I'm going to start doing yoga because I feel pretty limited, and I'm going to start stretching. Great. Do little things every day that are good for your body, and it doesn't need to be big. But every single person in here has a perfect day. Some people in here could actually handle a bit of meat. Some people need to go on a little bit of fastings. And that's okay. But it's about where I want my health to go. How much longer I want to last on this planet and how much effort I want to put into my daily basis being healthy and happy. So that's going to go then into the diet. People talk about, oh, Doctorate Detox is only just vegetables, just fresh and raw. You know what? If you're if you have any kind of major autoimmune disease, or you have stage 4 inflammation, or something even along those lines, yes, we put you onto a fresh and raw diet for a while, because you can't really absorb a lot of nutrients, especially if you're a stagnant body, because I know if you have a major autoimmune issue, you're not doing a lot of activation for your body through the day, or you're not getting out there and doing some exercise and doing any kind of form of that you don't deserve the meat. And so that body's stagnant right now. I need everything so light and so loving to come in fresh, to be absorbed as much as possible. So the Doctorate Detox, yes, we cater to living a fresh and raw diet. But then I train lots of personal trainers, athletes. I would never take them off some of their consumptions of meat. They would start to wither away. I go to the gym 4 days a week on top of all the non-surgical I do, on top of all the traveling and training I do, and I will have some form of either like a nice organic piece of meat or some fresh fish, and I'm going to do that 2-3 times a week. But then I'm also adamant about making sure my bowels are moving. Are you eating the pieces of fruit a day and like having some fruit with a good amount of pectin in it, because that'll help the bowels move a little bit more. So like apples are amazing if you feel congested. And then some people are like, oh, but if I start eating a little healthy, I get cramps, I get bloated, because your body's gassing off. If you eat ridiculously healthy, I'm going to put you on McDonald's for the next 3 months. For the month, you're going to be like, wow, I feel like crap. I have no energy, blah, blah, blah. The next month, you're going to be like, I feel fine. Your body is amazing. It adapts to everything. And so those cells need to adapt to putting in that food. And if you have a really slow metabolism, or if you have really bad circulatory issues, you should really stay away from meat for now, because eating 1 meal of meat a day slows down your endothelial system by 27%. And your endothelial system is what allows the blood to flow through your arteries. So if I'm getting varicose veins I can see on my legs, or I'm getting really cold limbs, I shouldn't be eating a lot of meat. It's about just being a mindful being. And so everybody needs a different perfect day. And so that's why we do the Perfect Day Consultations and try to create your own perfect day. And it's not going to stay the same. People are like, wow, I have to take all these products. And I'm like, for this amount of time. And then we can wean you off certain things. And then I want you like doing natural stuff for your body to keep it going. I don't think nutraceuticals are the way completely. But I think, you know what? In most people's state, they need it to get them there. We need it to bring our plateau up here to where I feel super healthy. I want some kind of humic and fulvic coming into me to at least flush out, because I know I'm not going to be perfect today. I might not be perfect tomorrow. There's going to be days where we deviate. It's called living life. You're allowed to go out for that ice cream. You're allowed to have that burger. You're allowed to have that beer. But it's the daily basis of damaging those cells to where, you know what? The light switch is so burnt out, it's not wanting to turn on. So we constantly have to be aware of how we feel internally. And if you're not questioning that, you're not doing something on a daily basis to be like, I'm like centered in myself. Where do I want to go and what do I need? You have to ask yourself on a daily basis, and you have to motivate yourself. You have to be ready to say, I'm going to start the fire under my ass and I'm going to get going because I know I'm not in a good state. Or it's like, I don't want to be rushed. You can start things slow, but it all depends on the situation you're in. And so you need some form of mentor. There's no way of getting there. If I wanted to go get really amazing at this one thing, I'm not going to just start researching online. That's not going to be the end-all, be-all. It's going to get you great ideas. It's going to get you there. You need to find some kind of mentor who's been through the ruts like you to help pull you through it. Because we all need somebody at the end of the day to kind of help pick us up. So just be mindful of that. So the diet is so huge. So fresh and raw is for majority of the population, I would say, because most people are rotting out. And there's ways to tell this. Like, do you bruise really easily? If you bruise really easily, and I see that like, oh, I walked into a desk the next day, or I wake up in the morning and I'm like, where did that come from? You don't know. We know we're on our way to getting blood disease because you're like an overripe piece of fruit. I drop it, it bruises really badly. And that's kind of what's happening internally to your tissue because it's so toxic. We have all these beaver dams built up that I'm not getting the lymphatic flow. I'm not getting the blood flow, the nutrition to these areas that I want it. And so now it is stagnant waste. And so that's where it comes down to the gut. Are your bowels moving? We have a nice pelvis right here, and it is shaped like a soup bowl. So then we have a transverse colon right up here. And over time, this large intestine, it has waste in it. And over time, that large intestine, and it's very, like your small intestine's long, but your large intestine's long too. It's still about 6 to 9 feet, depending on the size of you. And it can expand. So if it's expanding, how much waste is hanging out in there? And then over time, that waste starts to adhere to your peritoneal, which is the lining of the intestinal wall. And then now I'm not chewing my foods really well, and so I'm getting all these little pockets in my intestinal wall, which is like diverticulitis or diverticulosis. And now I'm just letting it go on that I've actually rooted and ate holes because you have good bacteria and bad bacteria. We just want more good than bad. I want you to have bad. Like, it is so fantastic to get sick. And that's where like Australia and Canada sucked. It's like everybody, there's still so many people masking up here. There's not a rule going on saying that you should do that. Why are you not breathing in the air that God gave us? And so it's just restrict your airflow and just dumb yourself down, go eat some fast food, and that is the way that you should live. I'm not going to have it. I won't allow it. I'm not going to allow it for myself. When I do have kids, I'm not going to allow it for my kids. You know what? Cheating here and there is totally fun. And it's allowed. But it's, I want to be better than bad. But a little bit of bad every once in a while keeps your immune system, keeps your digestive system on track. Because it's that activation of, oh, you put some crap into me, I got to deal with this. Great. We are building an immune system. But now we're just putting in too much crap before the good. And then people go to say, oh, I'm trying to eat salads and doing juices, but it's making me feel so gassy and bloated and all this because your body is gassing off from the old plaque that's still stuck in here. So it does take some time. We got to do some gentle daily cleansing first and clean house before we start putting a lot of fresh and raw vegetables in there. And most people who are overweight can't tolerate a lot of just salad. You need more like maybe steamed and grilled vegetables. It's a little bit more emulsified. It's easier to digest. If I have 60 pounds of waste hanging out here and it's just a large belly, throwing in salads, that's just going to rot as well. So we need to really start to clean house, start off with intermittent fasting. Can you make 17 hours without eating? To at least get your body into ketosis. Can you make 17 hours? Beautiful. Then can you make 24? Nothing needs to be so intense all the time. Then can you make 24 hours? Just one day of water. I promise you'll survive. And then if you make the 24 hours, you'll have the confidence. Can we make it 72? And I'm not saying people should always be doing this, but I've had really overweight clients. They've been on 42-day water fast because they weren't ready to come off. And they were still just feeling the weight shed off them. And they were just feeling lighter and lighter on a daily basis. But that's an extreme fast. I normally wouldn't do that for most people because I think, you know what, getting healthy should be fun. It should be just as fun as it was to get unhealthy. And it really, if you think back to it, sure, you had some fun nights, but those next mornings were not that great. So let's feel lighter and lighter on a daily basis because you deserve it. And if you don't think you do, then why are you here? Then what do you want? So we want to every single day level up ourselves. And so doing stuff like this, like the belly button therapy, is so important. This little tool is just going to get you moving a little bit in your abdominal cavity over time. So I'll go into a little bit of the non-surgical right now. So if I have like an issue in my shoulder or my hip, I'm going to call it scar tissue crystallization calcification. Doctors will call it calcification or they see bone on bone. You know what? That is true. That's what they see on the x-ray or the MRI. So you do have actually healthy connective tissue and cartilage still there. The cartilage is not completely worn out. It's not possible. We have taken displaced calcium from different areas of my body. You have a lot of bones. And so I'm taking calcium because I don't have enough nutrition in my body. So my knee is really jacked up. And I don't have a lot of nutrition in my body. I'm still eating like a lot of inflammatory foods. I'm not hydrating well enough. So my body is going to say, you're not giving me what I want, so I'm going to take what I want from you. And so now I'm losing bone density from my tib and fib, maybe my femur, and we're putting that displaced calcium around the area to buffer down the inflammation. Because it sucks to feel pain for a while, right? But you can literally not change your lifestyle, and then over time, that pain goes away. How amazing. Your body just said, I'm going to shut this down because you can't continue living in agony. But it doesn't mean the problem is gone. So now you lost bone density from here and here, and then you go to the doctor and they're like, oh, you got early stages of osteopenia. You have osteoporosis. Yes, because your body was so inflamed. I had not just one beaver dam, I had 3 or 4 from all my injuries in my life, that now we have all this excess calcium going to the area, undermining my immune system to buffer down the inflammation on where I have been needing to cater to, but have never awakened to that. So, the belly button therapy, when we deal with scar tissue in the abdomen, we call it a little bit of scar tissue here and there, but it's going to be more adhesions. You can get cysts, you can get fibroids. Push it so long, you might end up with a tumor. So, and that's all fibroid is. In my upper back and neck area, if I feel like, oh, there's a knot in there, a knot of scar tissue, which is just healthy connective tissue that's put a lot of toxicity into the area, that is now bound up and contracted. That knot up here is the exact same thing that I find in here. It's just the name I give it. So now it's a fibroid. But the scar tissue knot in your neck could be a fibroid. It's all just issues in your tissues. The scar tissue is the umbrella. So before I go over belly button therapy, I'm going to explain how our bodies can become acidic. So healthy connective tissue should look like this. You're going to have a lot more striations through it. You got tons of striations through that connective tissue. So I have healthy blood and lymph flow coming through to hydrate my muscle bellies, to hydrate my tendons and ligaments. But over time, just say I damaged a little bit. I tweaked, I pulled myself in the gym. Or you fell down the stairs and something set off in your back of your shoulder. So now we have a little bit of contraction. So from that contraction, it's okay. Your body will mend, but you will have a little bit of an issue there. So it would be good to go in and do like clapping and foam rolling. There's a lot of things that you can do personally to open that tissue back up. But that's not where the problem lies. It's now that you got damage, and this is the amazing thing about the medical system. As soon as you get out of surgery, Do you want a popsicle? Do you want some ice cream? Like, there is no good food in a hospital. So the stuff that we're putting into our bodies as soon as we come out from a surgery is straight inflammation. So now I'm actually taking displaced calcium because I don't have the nutrition once again to buffer down the inflammation in the area. Once again, your immune system is getting undermined. So, healthy connective tissue, you damage it a little bit. Now we have lactic and uric acid. We all have it. Go work out really hard. Go for a large run. You're going to feel like stuff's a little stiff. That's lactic and uric acid. It has to go into that area to kind of just help mend some things together, keep it all good. But that's not the problem. You're not happy you got damaged. You're kind of angry. And why do kids heal so quick? Yes, because their body is so close to whatever high power that we just came from that they want to heal. But, oh my gosh, I have the coolest cast ever. Do you want to sign my cast? I'm happy about this. You're over the age of 25. You bust up your ankle. So pissed off, I can't go out this weekend, I can't go to work, I can't get this done, this is all so stupid, life sucks. Okay, now you're releasing that hack. You're releasing that histamine, adrenaline, and cortisol that's going to take that lactic and uric acid that's in the muscle belly trying to heal it, and it's going to bind it, and it starts to crystallize. And so then we get crystallization. And the crystallization is okay, because a lot of our stuff is kind of held between scar tissue as well, like a little bit. But it's the excess that we lay down. We don't, like, I have a natural amount of scar tissue in my body. Well, I probably have some extras in some areas that I've damaged too. We all do. And I don't get enough work on, like, my low back and my neck, and I'm doing work all the time. Like I said, nobody's going to make it out of here alive. So we bind up that tissue. Now you have crystallization. And then you think you have that same range of motion, that same freedom that you thought you had. And then I go to move more, and I tear even more. And now I have to lay more lactic and uric acid down, and it puts me even in more of a pissed off state, and then you bind even more. So now you're going to have a bound up tissue and a ball of it. So it's like I'm pushing into here, and I feel like there's like a lump. Why is there a lump? Okay, so now that was healthy tissue. It was. And we can revert that tissue back to its original state, healthy connective tissue. But we need to really first go in and open up that lovingly, and we say lovingly, I'm always going to find your pain threshold. It doesn't feel that great. Non-surgical, it's in the name. It's surgery without the knife. And so we got to go in, we got to push the body a little bit. So you have healthy connective tissue that's bound up with so much lactic and uric acid, and you've released so much histamine, adrenaline, and cortisol to bind that tissue, you now have a knot. And then you can let that knot go on for so long that, oh my God, it's right beside my spine, but it feels like bone. You have calcification because we've had to continually lay down excess amounts. And then people are like, what happens when you remove it? Does it just disappear? Because there's still connective tissue in there. And so I have to rehydrate that tissue, make it connective tissue again. But then the toxicity that was bound within that, we got to be on top of the hydration, the drinking the water. We got to be on our diet. We got to make sure I'm peeing and pooing properly to get the lymph flowing some of that crap out of me. And then that actual tissue will go back to its original state. Your body wants to be healthy, but the thing is you pushed it aside for so long that it's just trying to get you through. So, do we have any questions on just like scar tissue or crystallization? Beautiful. Easy. And so, that can happen in that state. People say that it's like bone on bone. As I was saying, like the doctors say, the cartilage is still there. Yes, you can lose some from wear and tear on joints, but it doesn't mean you can't refurbish that joint back to its original state. And so it's about lovingly going in and activating it. Like I said, with that hip surgery, I can't believe they told her to not move it. Why would I do something like if it's already in contraction and it's limited, why would I limit it even more? To become more contracted, to become more adhesed, to shut me down even more. There's no logic in it. So a lot of times, people are in it for the money, and that is totally okay. But you know what? You need to be in it for yourself first. And so you got to look past what the person is portraying to you. Don't even trust me. Always get a second opinion, because I could just be talking. But I know that I care more about me, and I love you all. You all seem like wonderful people, but I care more about me than I care about you. So I want to make sure I'm doing the right things for me. So I'm not going to teach you the wrong thing. So it's about going into stuff like that. And so scar tissue is just, it's issues in our tissues, but it started with issues in the mind. So when are you willing to let some of that stuff go? Let go of the old past. And people say like, oh, we also have trauma trapped in tissue. So I could go and I got in a car accident. After that car accident, I lost my parents. And then as I was healing, I lost my job. All these emotions, this pissed off, this anger, gets stored in that low integrity tissue. And so when you go to do some of these physical releases on your clients, on your friends, on yourself, sometimes it's like, why am I getting pissed off? I feel really weird. This is making me feel irritated. Because our tissues hold trauma. Our bodies hold emotion from every single thing that we've been through. And so it's about being mindful that it's not just a physical injury. It might have started with something first. People say it's the straw that broke the camel's back. This time, no, it's no camel, but it was you. Like it was your body's weakest link saying, hey, wake up. And so, that being said, belly button therapy, everything starts within the gut. So, 80% of your immune system is all in here. I want to focus on opening up, as I was saying, in the gut. We don't call it so much scar tissue crystallization and calcification because that's a joint problem. We're going to call it adhesions, cysts, fibroids, and then it's like, what's endometriosis? Endometriosis is when you have scar tissue growing into the endometrium, into the fallopian tubes and around the ovaries and uterus, choking it off and not allowing proper flow to come down. And so what is that? It's like, so think about scar tissue. If you guys ever came to like a non-surgical class, I'll also be showing photos of like what a breast implant looks like. And within a breast implant, your body has to mask it off. And so if you do go for surgery, it's not the end of the world, guys. But it means that we will have to pay attention to this joint for the rest of our lives because it's not ours. And so your body's going to constantly want to mask that problem by overlaying excess calcium and scar tissue on that area to be like, oh, it's kind of a bone. But a lot of times, a lot of these also implants cause more contradictions. Some of them contain cobalt, which that cobalt will lead to it'll lead to blood poisoning and tissue disintegration. And so it'll really affect the surrounding tissues in the area. And then some people who go in and they get a hernia. Why'd you get a hernia in the first place? Because you lifted something too heavy? I don't think so. The integrity of that intestinal wall, your peritoneal, your abdominal cavity, my rectus abdominis muscles, over time, those start to rot out. Because there's so much putrefaction in here, like I said, that large intestine can start expanding with that waste. Then we get little poop crawling through the holes. And it's not chunks of poop floating around my abdominal cavity. It's the bacteria from it. And that bacteria is now going to affect my liver, or it's now going to affect my spleen, or my sigmoid. And it's going to start to create more inflammation. And generally, your organs should slide past each other. They should move very nicely and smooth. But they don't, because we release a lot of that bad bacteria. And so it kind of starts things to become a little bit more abrasive against each other. So it rips, it tears, it's easier to open up. And then people can start to really, they won't notice that just getting that one insertion from the mesh because they had a hernia, the hernia was their body blowing out. And so normally I'd always kind of with somebody with a hernia, I'd want to kind of observe how it is, buffer down their inflammation, get them on a really clean diet, strengthen their core with core exercises, and maybe that tissue will go back in itself. And if not, you're going to find somebody in your area to do sutures, or you're going to fly somewhere. You get mesh put into your holy grail, male or female, that is the beginning of major issues. Say goodbye to your bladder. Say goodbye to erection. Say goodbye to sexual function. Say goodbye to fertility. All of that is going downhill as soon as we start to do surgeries in here. It's not the end of the world, but we got to take massive personal action to remove the scar tissue that was created by the knife. Because what creates more scar tissue than even any other injuries? It would be surgery. Because I'm cutting into the tissue What is a scar? Think about it. And then there's tissue within the scar tissue. It all makes sense, but you've just been duped. It's just like, take a pill and you're going to be fine. No, your body's going to go numb and you're not going to have much left of you in the end. So belly button therapy, it is one of the most inexpensive things we have and one of the best tools that should never leave like your household, or all your friends and family should have one. If you don't want to get a kit, grab a spatula, put a sock over it, tape up that sock. It might be a little irritating, more opposed to this guy, but this is going to be number one. So I have a large intestine in here. We got a cecum here. We have a liver and gallbladder here. Spleen and stomach over here. Sigmoid's going to be down here on my left side, and that's going to be the last turn of my bowel before stuff comes out to my rectum. And so this also tells you where you have the most inflammation. Where do I feel the pain? Where do I feel really bad, like aching and stagnation? And I don't want it to be very painful, but if it is painful, it shows that there is inflammation within that organ belly. So we always want to start it directly in our belly button and it's staying just like nice, light, and in my breath. And I want to work in. And like I said, over time, your organs, if they're healthy, they should slip past each other. Over time, you should be able to hit that spine. And so you're just staying in your breath, nice and relaxed. And nothing needs to be super intense. Sometimes if people have really calcified or adhesed joints, I have to push them a bit. But everybody's a little bit different. And so some people want multiple treatments. Some people can't afford multiple treatments. So I say, you're going to have to moan, groan, scream, and do what you got to do. And we're going to work throughout this treatment together to get you there. But we just have to find that balance with each person because everybody's different. Some people need to go hard and fast. Some people need it nice and slow and loving. But when it comes down to your body, you should always try to be hand-holding. It is very nice to feel like you're cared for. And so why aren't you the number one person caring for you? So I'm just hanging out in that belly button. And then I want to go in the direction of my colon. So it goes right leg, right shoulder, sternum, left shoulder, left leg, pelvis. So after I go directly in, I'm just angling up and down. And I'm heading towards that cecum area. And I want to start to pull those little adhesions apart. And adhesions, a good way to think about it is like if I put gum or glue in between your intestinal wall and stuff is sticking together. There's not a lot of flow coming through it. So I'm staying in that area, working into that cecum. I know that I've drank a lot of alcohol in my life, and so I want to work that liver a little bit more. So I'm going to pull that out of my belly button. I'm going to stick it directly up into the liver area. And I want to really work all my directions into that liver and gallbladder. Your gallbladder's tucked behind your liver. You're not going to really work it too much, but it's the stimulation of it anyways to get it activated. And you're just going to play those angles and really take your time opening it up. And yes, you have abdominal, you have core muscles that are there too. But by me going in and stimulating, that's going to help get it alive because things go dormant. They go silent. Your body wants to shut itself down to say, hey, you've been hurting me for so long. I got to say, I don't want to feel this pain anymore. We overlay that scar tissue, that crystallization, that displaced calcium to help. It is us. It's our protection method. Scar tissue is amazing. If you didn't have it, you'd be in constant pain. But we're not healthy beings. So I want to work my spleen and stomach, so I'm working into that spleen and stomach area. And I'm not just going the one direction. I'm going to pull back, pull the other direction. If I'm somebody who gets really bad indigestion, anytime I go to eat, and I feel like, I'm super acidic, you're going to place it up just below your diaphragm and head down. Because I know, anytime I eat and I'm burping and I feel like that acid reflux coming up, okay, so clearly we know that you're not digesting well, for one. But you have too much acidity within your body that it's starting to splash up. And we don't want that because if it starts to splash up, it's going to lower the integrity of the tissue. Your stomach acid is 2 pH. That's close to battery acid. And so generally, we don't want that anywhere but in the stomach. So if it starts splashing up towards my xiphoid process, and if I eat really bad at night and I'm lying down and I'm especially sleeping on my right side, that is going to get you. Because sleeping on your right side, people say it all the time, and I'm like, oh no, it's like I feel more comfortable on that side. I'm like, that blows me away. Because on that right side, your organs have to function twice as hard to get things in the right direction, and you're having the acidity from the stomach splashing up. So either you should be on your back or on your left side. There is no other way to sleep. So if I felt like I was getting really acidic up in here, I'm going to place this here. And I'm going to angle down. And I'm going to pull everything down. So I want to get it back down. Because over time, when people get that hiatal hernia, and you can't say, you know what, if you go to the doctor and they say, I think you have a hiatal hernia, and you say, I think I have a hiatal hernia, you know you have a hiatal hernia. That's when the stomach pops up through the diaphragmatic hole, and I literally have a piece of tissue hanging out where it shouldn't, and it's my stomach. But people can get symptoms of a hiatal hernia, where the stomach is so inflamed, it's pushing on the diaphragmatic hole, but it doesn't blow through. So a doctor would mostly tell you you're getting close, or you do have a hiatal hernia, even if you don't fully have one. You got a really inflamed stomach that's pushing up on that diaphragmatic hole. So we got to watch that. Once again, if I start to see that belly starting to hang down, that's me knowing that the integrity of my tissue in here, that transverse colon, has started to drop and put lower pressure on those lower abdominal organs. And I've had women come to me with 6 inches of their uterus hanging out. I've had men go to the washroom and they go to poop and 2 inches of their rectum pops out. That is not normal. None of this needs to be natural or normal. We need to take massive personal action, which is baby steps. Clean up your diet. Can you take a daily cleansing tea? Can you just start to make sure your bowels are moving better? It's these baby steps to really make you a more fortified being. Where do you want your life to go, and how do you want it to look? And so, I'm hanging out in that liver or stomach and spleen area. And just say I had a hiatal hernia, I was angling down. And then the number one where people get colon and rectal cancer is going to be sigmoid over. So everybody should always be hanging out in the sigmoid area and stimulating that. Especially if you think, people always say to me, oh, I'm constipated. And I'm like, okay, how are your bowels? What do they move like? Today I pushed out 3 little rabbit turds. Tomorrow, it's really loose bowels. I had diarrhea. Oh, there's been a day I didn't poop. That is constipation. Most people are compacted. So that is not going at all. And that's too much dehydration. You're not getting the right essential fatty acids in the body. So it's about having, sometimes, depending on your state, you need nutraceuticals. There's a lot of amazing nutraceuticals over there. Like if I felt like I was low on energy, I'd want the either amino boost or SON formula coming into me because I want more amino acids. If I feel like my body's toxic and sore all the time and I'm sluggish, it's pretty inexpensive. You should have black diamond in all your water. It's a humic and fulvic combination, and that is going to help flush toxicity out of the cells and get more nutrient absorption into it. And then also the humic acid is going to help balance out weight, balance out your hormonal levels. There's tons of things out there that are great for you. The thing is, start small. Can you start with just like a daily cleansing tea? Can you start with waking up half an hour early and doing stretching? Can you start with putting just a little bit of lemon in water? And I want people to know, when I'm talking about water, guys, and I don't even like doing it, but you should try to drink warm or hot water to a degree. Think about it. If you have like egg yolk or dried ketchup on a plate, try to wash it off with some cold water. It's not going to happen. The same thing is happening in your intestinal tract. We want this mucoid and plaque buildup to come out of us. It's not supposed to be in there for that long, and it shouldn't even be there in general. But it is that good and bad bacteria thing. It is great to get sick. And so you know what? Next time you get the flu, be like, oh, thank you. I can't wait to get healthy. Because then your body has built an immunity to that. Why isn't it cool to get strong? Why don't you feel that this body can tolerate the environment that it was put into? Stop creating such a toxic environment for you and then blaming everybody else. Blaming the world around us. Oh, it's just what my husband had for dinner. Then why'd you have to eat it? Couples are sometimes the worst because one's trying to get healthy, one's trying to not, one's going one direction, one's going not. And a lot of times, I'm happy to see all the men here because you know what? Normally it's 2 men here. And that's where it really sucks, because then they're like, oh, honey, like, I don't like how healthy you're getting. You should really have some pizza with me. And like, you see, like, people bring each other down, and they don't mean to. It's a subconscious game that we play. It's jealousy, and that's okay. It is okay, but it's time to like really open up with ourselves and hold that loving line. And you gotta like have that open line of communication with your partner, your friend, your family, your mother, your brother. I don't know who you live with. But you need to have that open line of communication, like, you know what, this is your life and this is mine. If we're not going to kind of go in, like, if you're not comfortable with me going against the grain of what you're doing, maybe it's not right. Because I want to cherish the vessel I was given. You only get one on this lifetime. But the thing is, why don't you want to cherish it as much as possible? And then hopefully by the end of this game, you change some people's ideas about themselves. You change some people's morals and their moral compass of what they should be doing for their body and how they should be living. It's nice to feel happy. But it is also really cool to go through all the emotions. And people are like, I just want to be happy all the time. I'm like, life would suck. Life would suck if you were happy all the time. Oh my gosh, there's a car accident. I'm so happy about that. That makes no sense. It's cool, but how quick can you change your reaction? Wow, somebody in my family just passed. I'm going to miss them very much. And I cherish all the times we had together. But am I going to be like the one in the family that needs to feel the worst because that shows how much I care? Not even close. I'm going to be the one to say, hey, can't wait to see him again. Maybe on this plane, maybe on another. I'm going to take all the things that they taught me. But I'm going to move past this through love and light. We all just think the world is just like here to attack us to a degree. Like I said, we all have love for ourselves. You're here, you're doing good things for your body, but you need to question every day. Do you do more bad than good, or do you do more good than bad? And that's some question for myself that I fail on. And sometimes it's day in and day out. It's a process, learning to what your perfect day actually is. Like I said earlier, some people want to gain weight. Some people want to lose weight. Some people want to be more muscular. Some people want more energy. Some people want to learn more. What does that look like for you? Why are you not writing down action steps and start taking baby steps to get there? You will fall off. But there's people out there like me. There's people out there like other people who have this idea of that life doesn't need to be a pain game. It needs to be something that is for the living and for the loved. And it starts with loving you. So, belly button therapy is super key for anybody. And you should be doing it first thing in the morning. First thing in the morning, because it also releases the Kundalini energy in the body. It brings up your core temperature by 2 degrees, and that helps kill infection, and infection can't survive in that biome. Of course, once I start getting my day going and I'm hustling along, my core temperature is going to drop. So bacteria can start becoming alive again. But that's why I want to do it first thing in the morning and before I go to sleep at night, because it's going to put you into a parasympathetic. We're all walking around in our subconscious in that sympathetic state, which is fight or flight. And when you're in that fight or flight, you are releasing those really bad chemicals, and that is that histamine, adrenaline, and cortisol that your body contains. And what I want is my daily dose of like self-love drug, vitamin L as we call it, and that's the daily dose, which is dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, and endorphins. So what are you doing every day to get your endorphins up? Yeah, you pet a dog, but did you get out there for yourself? Did you look in the mirror? Did you really smile? Did you honor who you are? There's so many things that we can make our day just that much better. And by you being that, like, every family needs one person to light the way, to show them that this is what happiness can look like. This is what, like, health can look like. If you can change, I can change. There's not one person, oh, it's going to work for you, but it's not going to work for you, girl. Of course it can. But it might just be a little bit different. We might just need to tweak a couple things because she has a different body. We got to be constantly observing ourselves. So, belly button therapy is fantastic. Everybody should have one. If not, like I said, take like a spatula in your kitchen, put a big sock over it because you want to buffer it down. You don't want it to be too intense, like on the belly button. It can cause a little bit of an abrasion. And then you're just going to put some tape over that. And you're just going to get into that breath and nice and lovingly knead that abdomen apart. And we just want to start to pull those adhesions around. And it's best to go always in a clockwise motion because that is the way our bowels move. So then we'll come up to a clapper. Clapping is super important. We tell people to get a clapper because your hands are going to get tired. I like using my hands too because it's stimulating another area. So, but when you're clapping something that's calcified, you're going to want to use a clapper in itself. And that's going to be more around adhesed joints. So if I have like a bad joint of myself, you can't clap it for 2 to 3 minutes. It needs to be an elongated period of time so we can start to stimulate new stem cell growth and crazy amounts of circulation and lymph flow. So we want to start if it's like a tough area, like a hip, a knee, an ankle. My upper back and neck is really tight and I feel like in quite a bit of contraction. For one, are you staying in your breath? So staying in your breath is so important and not breathing through the mouth so much. This is not a filter. This is a filter. And so I should be going through everything through my nose. Here and there, because it does feel nice to kind of make the noises and just like feel like I'm decompressing some of that stress to be like, oh, let it all go. But it is better to just constantly breathe through the nose. People are like, oh, my nose is always congested. Well, that's either fungal buildup or you eat too much dairy and gluten. And if you're not on that, it's a fungal buildup or you got some sinusitis or something going on. But if I just kind of like, if I hold your breath, eventually your nose will clear itself. It's got to breathe. Your body will go into like a little hyper like change state and it'll say, okay, you can breathe now. And it'll clean one of your nostrils out itself. So breathing through your nose is more important than anything else. Try not to breathe so much through your mouth, especially for athletes that train a lot. But when you're clapping though, guys, so 10 to 15 minutes minimum per area. That's going to be if something's calcified and irritated. Like I know it's inflammation, so I want to focus on really clapping. And you don't want to do it over clothing. We want to do it on bare skin because that's where you're actually going to get the stimulation. So I'm just wearing clothes, so sucks for you. I'm working all around that knee. And I want to kind of like, I look at the structure. And so most of the time you're going to have one side that's worse than another. Look at your structure compared to the other. What is different? And so I'm starting with the nubbed side. It's going to get in there and open up a little bit more of that fibrous tissue buildup first. So that's going to soften. I want it to soften some of that calcium and scar tissue built up. Then we flip it over and use the flat side for about 5 minutes on the end for more stimulation of circulation to get there. So that's going to be if I want to focus on really calcified joints and I can tell that like I'm losing range of mobility within that area. But then we have our lymph areas to get our lymph activated. So we got lungs and heart, but in our cubital fossa behind our elbows, that is going to be where we have some lymph. Then we have under our armpits. Then we have our neck and below our clavicles. And then we have our groin. And then we have behind our knees. Yes, we have like little lymph nodes around our ankles and stuff too, but those aren't as like important that I would say if you're going to clap your lymph. So I usually tell people take 2 areas apart a day. So today I'll do my elbows. Tomorrow I'll do my neck and chest. The next day I'll do my groin. The next day I'll do my knees. And so when we clap a lymph area, I don't really use the nub side because it's not to loosen off any fibrous tissue. It's to stimulate the lymph to move. And so I'm going to want to clap each area where my lymph are for about 5 minutes, 3 to 5 minutes. And if it gets intense, guys, and you're like, oh, that's a lot, take a little 30-second break. As soon as I stop, the pain is gone. And then I can start back up again. Nothing needs to be a continuous irritation the whole time. It doesn't need to not be fun. Put some good music on. Start stretching. Start doing stuff that your body wants. If you feel like you're limited, why aren't you doing something? That's the thing. People question all the time, like, well, where's the one pill that fixes all? And I'm like, you're it. So what are the steps that you are willing to take to get there? And so Some people only need this much, but don't get, as Dr. Wolfe says, the big boy, he says, don't give yourself a 10-foot ladder when you're in a 20-foot hole. And just know it takes 9 months to birth a new baby. It takes 9 months to birth a new you. It really takes some time to change over that cellular structure that we've been poisoning ourselves for so long, because we're all above the age of 15, 20, 30, 40. You've had some time to torture yourself a little bit. You've had some time to take on that negativity from other people. So now you've made that part of your program. So it's not going to be an overnight process, and you should never want it to be, because health and healing should be something you're falling in love with, and that is making a love story with yourself. And so every single day I wake up and I love doing specific things for my body, because it makes me that much better of a practitioner. It makes me that much better of a person. It makes me feel that much better, so I can give that much more than I am. So lymph is super important. You're going to clap. If you go black and blue, it shows we got that blood toxicity going. Bruising is totally fine, but you're going to want to give it a couple days to subside. I'm going to go in even lightly over the next couple days, even if I am bruised, just to stimulate more blood flow here to flush out some of the toxicity. But it doesn't mean reclap and go super hard. So 5 minutes on either side of your lymph. Then you're going to do the same thing under the armpits. 5 minutes under the armpits. It's a little intense. Take a break. Nothing needs to constantly be painful. The neck is a larger area. The left side of your body, the left side of your neck, will flush normally about 1 gallon of lymph every 24 hours. The right side only goes through about 355 milliliters. They're both very important to clap, but the left side's a little bit more important. So just be mindful of that. So loving stuff like that is going to be fantastic for you. One-shot therapy, I don't have a shot glass here, but if you go into the Detox library, it's called the Do-It-Yourself Guide. In the Do-It-Yourself Guide, you're going to see videos and stuff like this, like I'm showing in person right now, how to go in, how to open up some of that crystallization, calcification that is built up around those tendons, ligaments, and joints. And know this, if your muscles are starting to go on you, I know that your joints, your tendons, and your ligaments are in really bad state, because your muscle belly is the last to normally go. First, it's tendons and ligaments. Ligaments attach bone to bone, tendons attach muscle to bone, but they will dehydrate first before we start stealing the nutrients from our muscles, because that is kind of what carries us through. So be mindful about that. If you're starting to see some atrophy in your body, we know that we got a lot of work to do, because there's a lot of other things going on in our body to kind of make me more aware. So be mindful of that. Other than that, like really great things for your body is going to be like foam rolling and doing kind of stuff like that. Kind of staying open, staying relaxed. Go to a couple yoga classes. Go to a light, like maybe if you might need, like, and you want to start getting into the gym, hire a personal trainer, somebody that you kind of jive well with. And you have to find people that you're comfortable with. Don't just go one person fits all. He said he's a personal trainer, he's the best. Where do you feel comfortable? And you need some form of a consultant to kind of keep you on track or keep that program changing, because your body is going to constantly change. Your perfect day right now is going to be totally different in a month from now. I tell everybody this that comes to me for a consult. I'm like, we're going to hit you hard. So depending on the situation you're in, some people we don't need to hit hard, but some people need to hit it hard with the cleaning house to buffer down that inflammation, because they don't want to do this such baby steps that it's going to take us 3 years. So I say, really want you, you're going to have to hop on all these products for the next maybe 30 to 90 days. And then after that, we're probably going to cut it in half. But I need you to clean house so we can have healthy cells. And I don't want you putting in, some people like, I'll go to their houses, I'll see that they're 20, 30 pounds overweight, but they're taking like $60 in nutraceuticals a day. And I'm like, wow, you have really expensive poop. You're not absorbing any of it. And so we got to clean house sometimes before we actually put the nutrients in to be properly absorbed. Sometimes your body is not deserving of it because there's still too much waste hanging out there that it will not allow to be absorbed properly through the small and large intestines. So really be mindful about that, everybody. So Do we have any questions though on like scar tissue, calcification, health? Yes, please, anybody.
Sage, I just wondered, can we assume that your calcification is created at different stages for different ages and sizes of people? Is it all generally different, or is it generally around the same?
It's generally around the same.
Okay.
So, like, of course, a fresh young body, I would say somebody between the ages of 7 and 19, if they break a bone, it's going to heal a lot quicker than grandma's will. Because her life, it's not like, you know what I mean? You only have a specific amount of years. So your body's slowed down a lot. So now grandma's bones are not going to heal the way they are. It's not going to heal like that 11-year-old boy's. Because also she's maybe not happy about that. And she's walking around the house kind of angry, or she's just like bedridden now. And so it's the healing process won't take place the same. But the scar tissue laying down is going to be the exact same. Yeah, it won't like, if you're a very, very, very acidic person, you might put a bit more. You'll put a bit more than a fresh, healthy, young body would. But if two exact people are on the exact same nutritional protocol, and you give them both the same injuries, but they're different ages, they'll probably have the same amount of scar tissue going to that area. Great question. Yes?
If you're doing that thing that you do on the belly button,
Yeah.
and you've got scar tissue underneath the stitches, right in that area,
Yes.
how do you know? Because I've got that.
You have a scar from top to bottom, though?
Yeah, a hernia.
Okay, yep.
Mesh.
Yep. So you have mesh in there.
But yeah, and then they had to operate, cut them, something else, cut the mesh, redo it. So I've got scar tissue all here, exactly where you were. How, if I was to do that, how do I know I'm not bursting the tissue?
Okay, you'd have to go so hard and to such like an irritating painful that it wasn't loving anymore. Like I said, some things need to be baby steps and loving. I'm going to go in and be like, that's slightly irritating. We're going to hang out right there, love. Until we build up that tissue underneath to become healthy tissue, because your diet's on par, you're hydrating really well. We're going to lovingly knead that tissue apart where the scar is to rehydrate it to be constructed healthy tissue. But if you're going in and you're not paying any attention, you're like, oh, it hurts so bad. There's a solid chance you might do a little bit of tearing. So it's about going in mindfully and lovingly and go into, I'd never want pain. I've never said I want a lot of pain with it. I need slight discomfort. So if you hang out in the realm of slight discomfort and you slowly go to one side, you're literally just going to be pulling loving fibers apart to bring healthy blood flow in to reconstruct the tissue back to the original state. You won't cause damage. There's no way. And that's the same thing with people who have like really impacted bowels, and I go to do like an abdominal restoration on them. I'll go in and elbow that abdomen up, but I gotta find the balance the person's at. I have to look at them as a whole. Not everybody can take the same pressure. Not everybody can take the same amount of things. And so I have to lovingly pull that tissue apart so it can reconstruct itself. And then some people are so tough because they have actual like fibrotic tissue and thick mounds of scar tissue built up, that I got to push them past like their comfort level a little bit to really start playing those angles to open up those adhesions. So just at the beginning, especially at the beginning stages, because I don't know how your diet's been, I don't know how hydrated you are, and I don't know like where you are exactly at, I want it to be loving and fun. And that tissue will reconstruct and become healthier. And then you'll be able to go deeper and push it a little bit more. But for the first maybe 5, 7, 10 times, you're going to go in so loving that you just feel slight discomfort. And you're like, okay. And you're going to boost your confidence. At the beginning, if you even just like didn't like that, you were like, I just want to tickle. Next time, okay, now we're going to go in. And then next time I'll go even a little bit deeper. Because it's about building that confidence. Don't shoot immediately. Build yourself up. Have confidence in you being like, wow, I didn't know I could take that much pressure in here. 5, 6 times later, you're going 3 or 4 times deeper, but you didn't even realize it. So it's just about slowly reconstructing the tissue a little bit healthier again so we don't do any tearing. So always at the beginning, start baby steps, gentle and loving.
And, one more question.
Of course.
What can we use at home, because we all haven't got one of those yet?
Yeah, that's why I was saying you're going to want to take like a spatula or something in your house.
Yeah.
You know, like even like those ladles with the spoon, they have kind of like an end like this. So you're going to take a sock or 2 socks. You're going to put it over the end. And then you're going to tape that up. Then you're going to grab the back of that spoon. And then you're going to be scooping your organs around. Just kidding. Any other questions? Yes, please.
Is it okay to do the belly button therapy while laying down?
I would prefer it beside your your bedside table, because when you're lying down, everything is relaxed. So I would rather that be going in there right when you wake up and right before you go to bed. It would be wonderful. And yeah, lying down is the way to go. Yes, sir.
You said something about shot glasses.
Yeah, so shot glass therapy. Does anybody here have a shot glass? That's a weird thing to ask, but no. If not, actually, I'm just going to steal one of those like glass bottles up here. And then if you just want to pass me like any one of those. Yeah, that's cool.
With tequila, what is wrong?
Not the whole bottle in itself. Maybe for my non-surgical appointment. No, I'm just kidding. So, actually, but like for people who do like when they're cleaning out their guts and they're trying to like really refresh and refurbish their intestinal tract, like if you get a really quality mezcal and you take like 1 shot on an empty stomach twice a day, really helps kill that bad bacteria and flush out parasites. But 1 shot twice a day, empty stomach, not like going wild with it. So, yes.
What's mezcal?
Mezcal is like tequila, but it's smoked. It's better for you. No problem. So, what? What's that?
He said, what's that? It's an alcohol made like potato skins and that.
That would be something around that is going to be okay as well. You're going to have like a ½ ounce on an empty stomach. It's going to help kill some of that bad bacteria and flush some stuff out. When we're doing parasite cleanses though, just make sure your bowels are moving like crazy. And it's just like when you're focused on a parasite cleanse, you want to make sure your bowels are moving like crazy, because those parasites can root somewhere else and start to affect something different than you want it to. So, this isn't going to work the same, but like, you know, a shot glass, and some of them have like nice rounded edges. I don't want it too thin and abrasive because you can cause yourself a blood rash. So, you're going to have like, so just pretend like that's the bottom of a shot glass and it's nice and rounded. So, when we go to do shot glass therapy or 1-shot therapy, I never want to be scrubbing back and forth because that's going to cause the skin abrasion. We want to focus on like I would do some non-surgical. So it's going to go one direction or the other. And that's always just going to depict on the angle of my hand. And so I have my knee right here. Here, I'll try to pull this up. So I got my knee. And I can see, just say if I had a bad knee, I could see that this area is a little bit more inflamed and I have some calcium buildup. So I would take some coconut oil, apply it to the area. And I want to hold that shot glass, and you can have your other hand here as a guide. And so hips are going to be a little bit harder because it is a large joint. But if you can do like knees, ankles, elbows, wrists, amazing for the face. So if you have like wrinkles, we always want to go down and finish with up and really strip those wrinkles. You get TMJ issues where my TMJ is really locked tight, or I have mandible issues, or I even like hard time swallowing because of something's going on. Opening this area up is going to be fantastic for that. This bottle's a little round, so it won't do it as well, but just pretend. So, I'm placing it on the area. I have calcification built up around it. I kind of have a general idea. I want to place the bottle, and I'm not pushing back and forth scrubbing, and it's not long movements. I want to keep it short, and I want to feel it grinding. You're going to feel little fibers. Some of it's just going to be some fibrous tissue. Some's going to be a little ligaments or a tendon that you might pop over here and there. You're not going to cause any damage because I promise you, you're not going to go so hard where it's like, oh, this hurts so bad, and then something goes wrong. No, you're going to what you can tolerate. And I promise you, if I ever put my elbow on you, it'll hurt more than what you're going to do. And so You'll contest for it. So I'm holding this and I'm grinding in and around my patella, which is my kneecap, because I know right here is like the hinge. I know there's a lot of scar tissue inserting at the actual joint, causing that restriction. So I isolate, I hold, and I'm grinding one direction. So I'm pulling towards me. Then, after I've pulled towards me, that's one direction. When it comes down to scar tissue crystallization or calcification, that's one thing I will never be able to answer. I don't know the way it mended itself in the area. So that is why we have to play all our angles. And that means face to face, face to side, and face to sides, and face to feet. And so if you're holding that, and that kind of portrays more so when you're taking the non-surgical course and how I teach you with the elbow work. But if this is my elbow, I'm going to be pulling one direction. So I'm pulling towards me right now, working around that patella. Then I'm going to flip it the opposite direction. And I'm going to isolate, and I'm pushing one direction, working down. And so I'm getting little bits of grinding against that bone. Wonderful. And I can feel something as I'm doing this coming down to my patella tendon right in here to where it connects to the tib and fib. So there's some form of an attachment. Doesn't mean my knees are bad, but it's just opening it up. Then I'm going to pull up and into the patella. And it's just a one motion kind of thing, constantly grinding. And I release some of that tension and then I pull again. And you'll feel these fibers start to pop. Then I'm going to flip it around once more. And I'm going to pull down on it. One direction. And you're going to continue working your way all around that knee to wherever the area of concern is. So if I had like TMJ issues, so up in my TMJ, I'm going to have myself feel that, and your TMJ is your temporomandibular joint. And so if I kind of put my hand on here and I clench my jaw, okay, I located it. Nice little square right here. I got my masseter in here, but generally when we chew, we want that TMJ to move like so over time, because this is also a large emotional area. We say some things we didn't mean to say. We hold our words in, and you piss me off so much that we can get a lot of anger built up within this area. And so when I go to work it out, I'm playing my angles, pulling down, and I'm feeling little bits of crunching right now. And then I'm going to pull to the side one direction. I'm going to flip it back, pull the opposite direction, because it's not a scrubbing. I don't want it to scrub. I'm just scooping that direction where I'm holding. I'm going to flip it up. I grind up into my zygomatic bone, which is just this bone right here, using that as a ledge because I can feel my masseter is inserting into that. So that's going to be lovely. So that is going to be one of the main focuses when you're doing like shot glass therapy, and it's great for anything that I can normally touch and your sort of more extremity joints.
When the calcification breaks up, how does it pass?
So your body I need somebody on an alkaline diet to a degree. If you're going to not change at all your diet, you're going to continue drinking really a lot, and you're going to continue being an acidic person, you're probably going to mend that calcium back into the area.
But I mean, how does it leave, like toxins leave through the blood, being this is in the muscles and stuff, how does that come?
So it's connective tissue. And so what's in that calcification is like bone, correct? And so if I get you on a really good diet, another way to get you there really quick would be taking like a form of ionic calcium to get the calcium back into the bones. But generally, if I put you on a really, really great diet, your body's pretty smart. If it can take the calcium from bones in the surrounding area to put it there, and if you're really alkaline and content, it can put the calcium back into the bones where it was taken from. And so you can literally see this on x-rays. I've done so many non-surgicals on people without them doing a full protocol with ionic calcium, and their bones are getting back to not osteopenia, or they're going from osteoporosis to osteopenia to back to a solid bone density. Why is this? Because they're getting healthier. Your body wants to awaken itself. It just needs the right tools and not to be in an acidic state. Do you have TMJ issues? Was Dr. Wolfe the one who worked on you last time?
Yeah, that hurt.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You want to do it again today on the other side?
Yes,
All right. So, I'm going to answer, like, for now, some questions, and then we're going to hop into a demo. So, any other questions from anybody? Yes, please.
My husband has fasciitis.
Plantar fasciitis. Plantar fasciitis. That is... Use the shot glass on it. I promise you, if you use the shot glass and he's going to feel like crystals and glass snapping and popping under the heel. If either I got my elbow into it for 30 minutes or if you really pushed him and he was okay, you could go lovingly, but 30 minutes on that heel, he won't have it.
He does the ball thing, but I don't think that's...
The ball's not enough. The ball's going to roll over the crystals. You need to crush them a little bit because it's like little bits of glass that is built up around the bone. But plantar fasciitis, that can totally be taken care of with this. Yes?
Does the ionic calcium with Merigen help this issue here?
For the TMJ?
Yeah.
So I would put you on the Detox. There's a couple different ones. And like the science behind it, I don't know exactly why each calcium has a focus point. So the Merigen is going to be the strongest and it focuses on the body. The Detox is going to focus on the jaw and the teeth. The Alzagen focuses on the brain. The Osso Junior is for like kids 8 years and below. And then we have Cartigen for people who are low on cartilage and it focuses more on the cartilage. And so all of those are a form of ionic calcium. It's just they have a different focus point.
And if you just take that and not do the...
You're going to notice results. So this is a cool story. I was in Australia, in Adelaide, doing a course 3.5 years ago. Then day and a half before I flew there, my jaw broke. I got in an accident and it broke. And so I was like, oof. I went to the hospital, they did an x-ray, and they were like, we want to wire it shut. And I was like, that's not happening. I got to go to Adelaide tomorrow, Australia tomorrow, and train a course. So I flew out, I trained a whole course talking like this. It was slightly annoying. But I was taking the Merigen because I couldn't drink. I couldn't eat a lot. So I was just taking it because you need a window of 4 hours every time you take it. I was taking it 5 times a day. And in about a week, I was able to eat like avocado and stuff like this. And came back 3 weeks later and my jaw was healed.
With the Merigen.
Yeah. But like if I put you on the Detox, it would focus on that as well because that's its focus point. I just took the Merigen because it's the strongest one. And I was just like, I need to get there as soon as possible.
Well, Dr. Wolfe put my son on Merigen within a month. His cracked pelvis is...
Beautiful. I'm happy to hear that. Was this you? No. Oh, okay. Wonderful, though. That's great. I'm super happy to hear that. But now, what's going to be great is him doing like pelvic activation squats, going in even with like a shot glass and working along his pubic bone, because there's going to be an excess buildup of calcium in the area. So over time, it's not right away. He won't notice it right now, but over time, he might notice some issues starting down in that general area. Because of the excess laydown of calcium, it's kind of going to start to choke some things off. Any injury, it has to do that because it's your body's way of protecting itself. It's what we do.
My son's girlfriend gets a lot of cysts in her body.
Yeah.
To the point where they get infected and she has to go to
Yeah. So that's not so much going to be perfect day diet immediately. Like I want her on a great diet, but we got a clean house. So I would be, how old is she?
26.
Beautiful. She's old enough that she's going to be comfortable with it. I've been talking to her about specific enemas. Really good diet. Like really, and like she can't right now. I don't even want her. Like she's a girl that I wouldn't even, and she's young.
Yeah.
She has a young biome. But she's a girl that I wouldn't even want on a bunch of salads. It would be like smoothies, juices, and like grilled and steamed vegetables. That's where we're going to hang out. Everything, so nothing rots in her.
Yeah.
We want everything to flow right now because there's something going on where her biome is super off and she likes creating these pus pockets. So we need to clean house. Hi.
Just wanted to ask about arthritis.
Yeah.
And with the cupping, can you do cupping on arthritis?
So cupping's great. You're going to bring more flow to the area, but arthritis is starting to get crystallization around the tendons and ligaments. And so the joints are getting arthritic because there's a little bit of excess calcium in the area. So yes, you can do cupping, but it's not going to get you there unless they change their diet, they raise their temperature, or they get a little bit of non-surgical or some form to get in there and do more than a cup just bringing circulation to the surface. Cupping is so great for the areas, but it's just bringing blood flow to the area of concern. It won't remove what's built up already. Yes, sir.
So with that, with the cupping, because I've actually had that done, but then the biotherapist actually ran the edge just a little bit over.
Ran the edge over it a bit,
Yeah.
to kind of like soften the tissue. See, that's fine, that's great.
That's similar to the actual.
That's similar to almost shot glassing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so like if you could get like maybe an elbow in there and like even just yourself taking like a little small massage gun, a Theragun, and getting in there and softening that tissue and stimulating it a lot after, like the more you do, the merrier.
Yeah. So that's like that gun, what with the rubber.
Yeah, the little rubber
Okay.
ball on the end, or you can change the attachments
Yeah.
and it kind of
Yeah.
vibrates. Yeah, the little Theraguns.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are great.
Yeah.
Anybody else? Yes.
Yeah, so I play sport like 6-7 times a week.
Yep.
I've got a history. When I was younger, I got a stress fracture in my spine. I've like ruptured like a ligament in my ankle as well. I'm just wondering what's good for like keeping your bones strong. Is it just calcium?
So, really clean diet, brother.
Yeah.
Putting some stress on your bones, and I'm not just saying from like stuff like that, like little bit of like weightlifting is great at that point, because adding weight to your bones in itself, it's like jumping. If you have a healthy body and you're constantly doing like some kind of like blunt force a little bit, it's causing your bones to get a stronger density to it. So activation like that is great. Having a really great diet, not stressing yourself out, not bagging on yourself that you didn't do so well at practice or that you're falling off or this and that. Because I know I can already tell where your mind's at. You're an awesome kid, but you're a really big go-getter. And you screw up a little bit, you screw up a big bit. You don't give yourself leeway at all. So until you're willing to like get off your own back and say like, man, it's all good, your body's going to still give you these little inklings to say, hey, wake up and say love me a little bit more. Because you deserve it. And so just really good diet. Ionic calcium, if you're a really big athlete, it'd be something I'd be taking. SON formula for the amino acids, and that'll help your bones as well. And taking like vitamin K2 is good. Yeah. No problem. Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm just like with the hands, because I have a lot of trouble in my thumb joint from like knitting and exercise and stuff.
Yeah.
I use castor oil, it settles down, but then it just flares up again when I'm doing too much.
Yeah, do you even put a heating pad over the castor oil too, though?
No.
No, okay. You're putting some castor oil. It's very, very minimal. I'm sorry, I love it. Castor oil is great, but like if I have an area of concern, you should have a heating pad or something really hot over top of that, like a really warm towel.
Okay.
Brings more blood flow to the surface, and then the castor oil can actually infuse a little bit better. And then if you feel like that, you should be applying essential oils every 30 minutes, like 2 to 3 drops. People will think like, oh, like oil yourself up. 1 drop of lavender is a pound of lavender. So you're not going to absorb 20 pounds of lavender. You're going to take 2 to 3 drops of essential oils and apply it with consistency, not intensity. Anybody else? Yes, please.
You mentioned earlier that walking isn't exercise.
No, unless you're like speed walking and getting your heart rate up and like rushing around. No, walking's not exercise.
But so speed walking or walking at a fast pace,
Is going to get you going a little bit.
but not enough for what?
Not enough for what do you want? That's exactly it. That's creating our own perfect day. What are your goals? I want to be the best speed walker. I want to lose a little bit of weight. I want to have healthier muscle density. I want to feel lighter. There's a lot of things we can do to even go into like the foam rolling and the clapping. That stuff is going to get your lymph going more than the walking would. So just like walking is great, but you know what? Walking is great for decompression, for getting back into nature, for balancing yourself out. But it's not true exercise. So you got to find maybe like a Pilates class or go swimming. go for a hike. But like walking along, you're gonna get activated, but it's not, you can't consist it a form of exercise.
What about dancing?
Amazing. You're moving around, you're changing, you're it's not just, and what are you thinking about while you're walking? That's another big one. That's why I'm like, are you walking to decompress your stress and you're just like, I'm so pissed off that they did that today. Like, there's no. Then we already lost. It's not fun anymore. We need to enjoy our lives through and through because you deserve it. You don't deserve to hold that weight on your shoulders while you're walking. Go for that walk to decompress and then get home and play your favorite girl or play your favorite guy to sing and start dancing. Have fun with it. You deserve it. Yes?
Sage, if you've had a knee injury or ankle injury and you've got a pin, doctors have put a pin in you or something from surgery, and everything's fine down the track, should you have it removed?
You can speak on this one. Come on up. Because this was very interesting, because like, she was beautiful practitioner, just came to the place I was just at. There it was. Guys, I've traveled so much, I don't know where I'm at. So we were just in Nambucca Heads. I just finished off with the Wolfe non-surgical course. She came out, she got me to look at her foot, and I was like, that doesn't need to be there anymore. And so tell me what they told you, or how it all went.
Yes, so I had bunion surgery about 6 years ago, and I've got a screw that's actually protruding out of my foot. I can feel it as I run over. And I'm starting to get a lot of aching and just numbness and pain in my foot. So we did a few sessions, and then Sage suggested I maybe get the screw taken out. I didn't even know you could do that. So I rang the doctors today and I said, oh, by the way, can I get the screw taken out? Yep, lots of people do it. No problem, come and get them all out. So I'm getting it taken out. It doesn't hurt as much as it did when I had the surgery and they broke my toe. But that means I can start getting my body healing. Because otherwise it's never going to heal. And this ache is just going to get worse and worse no matter what I do. How many sessions I have, how much, nutraceuticals I take. So I need to start with that problem first and then I can work.
And that's because this object that's in there is a foreign...
It's a foreign object. And like my favorite analogy is like, how irritating is that sliver in the bottom of your foot? You brush by, you put on your sock, you're like, oh shit, like it bothers me. So let's just put one that's about 2 inches long and then like a little bar behind it and a couple screws into there. Your body's like, what the heck? I can't push this out. I can't reject it. It's stuck. So let's pretend it's there. And so now we start taking the displaced calcium, putting a bunch of stuff over it. And why is her bunion starting to come back? Because the body's excess calcium is starting to lay there. And so most of the time, your doctors won't want to remove the pins, the screws, the whatever. It's going to be easier in like knees, ankles, elbows, wrists, and shoulders. Hips are difficult because most of the time it's like a full hip replacement. It's not just a piece. So you can't remove that full hip. That's stuck there. But there is non-surgical you can do. There is stretching you can do. There is clapping you can do. There's a plethora of things that we can do to buffer down that inflammation. But if I have pins and screws somewhere, I always want to see if I can get my joint back to its original state. So I'm going to call the doctor, and even if it's not causing you pain, you should be like, oh, that makes my foot ache at night. Oh, I don't feel so secure when I step onto it. It's poking into my shoe. They'll be like, okay, we might remove this. And so they'll go in, and a lot of times they'll remove it because the bone is healed again. And like my stepmom, she broke her tib and fib. They wanted to peel her muscle tissue back, put 2 plates on either side, like 8 screws because it was so bad. And it took her 5 months, but she healed it all herself. But if she got the plates and the screws, it probably would have been 5 to 8 months healing time anyways. But now she has her own joint still. So it is always best to opt in for you first, and then we kind of go from there. In situations like where they place the mesh in, unless there's major contraindications, because I've had clients whose mesh literally will come to the surface and will start clipping on their shirts and stuff, and they have to trim the wires. I've had other clients who have had mesh in there, and now the women have uncontrolled bleeding, and so they got to remove that because it's getting pushed up against things and it's cutting into things that it shouldn't. But a lot of times the body will mend around it and pretend it's like a part of you. It's okay, but we're gonna need to go in and remove the excess buildup of scar tissue because now we're getting a lot of flow happening within our holy grail, which is.
Yeah, so, and that's also, it wasn't just around the screw that's hurting, it's the other toes.
It's the other toes. It's
all my
pushing
other toes.
all of them over.
So my screw's in my big foot, it's in my little toes, they're all coming to hurt. So it's aching from the whole foot as a result of that.
As a result of one toe.
Yes, yes. So it's affecting all the bones and everything around, all the tissue. It's not even near it. Yeah, so that's okay.
Beautiful. Thank you.
That's okay.
How do you get rid of nail fungus? Assuming that's
So that's the gut, darling. So we got to hit the gut hard. So there's a lot of things I would start you on, but like baby steps. So start with daily cleansing tea. If you can do daily,
just got it.
you're on it. See, you're taking these baby steps. I'm stoked for you. So start with that. Maybe we'll look into getting you a perfect day consultation. Yeah. So the you painting your nails is going to damage it, but you can paint them all, like it's going to damage it because it's putting chemicals into there. But in general, it does take a little bit longer because nails take a while to grow out. But we got to clean that gut up first. I can see you're retaining a lot of water because we have this inflammation within the jowl area. And so we're retaining some water. We're a little inflamed. We're getting some putrefaction in the gut. And so you got more candida and fungus right now so you got more bad bacteria than good. We just need to revert that over. It's not a problem. But for the nails to regrow out and blah, 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 it'll be about a year because you got to fully regrow that nail out. But like you're getting healthier as it is. You're going to start to see changes in your face and your energy levels and all of it. And you're going to be rocking, baby. But a lot of things we can do. Like I'm not going to tell you to do it right away, but chew garlic in the morning. Chew a clove of garlic. Swallow that down. That's going to start to kick in. And that, it's tough, but like there's like things like that we can do. There's very like nice little things at home we can do. Like people are like, ooh, I get brain fog. A really nice thing is to do is chew on lemon seeds. Lemon seeds contain more lithium than any other food substance on the planet. Reconstructs the cellular activity in the brain, so it can help revert Alzheimer's and dementia. So amazing for doing that. Like there's certain foods out there that are great for you and that are going to do specific things. So garlic and ginger are going to be your best friends.
Diet, cleaning house and stuff. I've got a lot of food intolerances, like histamine, salicylate, oxalates, garlic, onions. Like I can basically just eat air. And so I know stuff that.
So with these intolerances, what happens? What's your reaction? Do you break out in hives? Do you start going anaphylactic? Or
My brain fog goes up. I'm really emotionally distressed, swell up, gas, very tired, angry. Really, really unwell, and through a nutritionist, I eliminated all that and I got much better, but now I basically eat most things, even particular parts of broccoli I can't eat it. So how am I going to fix this if the foods that you would normally recommend?
We have to go in the other way. So we have to go into the enemas.
Right.
We have to start doing enemas and cleaning house there because there's something going on in your lower bowel. And then also we have to start doing baby amounts of each to build an immunity to these foods that you've been so hypersensitive to for so long. I've had so many people who are allergic to this. And we've cleaned out a lot and we've started to implement little bits to trigger those reactions. And eventually you won't get those reactions. It takes time. Man, same thing happened with me. The one thing that I've struggled with like most in my life that like has almost brought me to I don't know if I want to be here anymore is chronic urticaria. The worst hives you've ever can like imagine. You eat one thing, I don't care if it's a salad, a smoothie, a blah blah blah, a burger, I will break out from head to toe. My hands will have it. I just like want to rip my skin off.
I get really itchy to the point of bleeding.
Yep. And so this we got to clean house the other way. We got to buffer down the stress that's really affecting you in your life. And that's going to be a huge one. And then we need to start implementing baby amounts of the stuff to like not cause major triggers, but to cause small triggers to build a nice immunity to it, to where your gut biome learns to love it.
How does the gut biome like rebuild itself? Because I've since I was a kid, I was pumped full of every kind of psych med you can imagine, and I believe this nuked my entire.
Yeah, and so now your biome's really set off. And so it's about doing nice stuff like starting with the tummy love. We start that with children. So it's a very like light humic and fulvic combination, but the tummy love in your water. then the black diamond, then the black gold. You can even start like, oh, black gold is gritty as shit, but how bad do you want to be healthy? Put a spoonful of that in your mouth and start kind of chewing on that, swallow it down. That's really going to help coax the whole bowel first before we start putting other stuff. So creating a perfect day for you, but being very specific with it.
If you swallow the lemon seeds...
I'll go everywhere, I remember.
If you swallow the lemon seeds without chewing them, does it...
No, you got to chew them. You got to chew them. And it's just slightly bitter. It's slightly bitter.
And what about anaphylaxis? If I have 4 children with anaphylaxis.
With lemons?
No, with other foods.
Oh, like same thing here then. Same thing here. We got to clean your gut. There's too much going on. You're too hypersensitive. It's like the alarms are already going and you think that a little bucket of water is going to help this house on fire. No, we got to call in the fire department, water it down, and rebuild from the ground up.
How many lemon seeds?
So this is where people are like, do I have to chew 20 a day? I'm like, you juice a lemon, you take the seeds. Don't make it something that is just like, chew all these lemon seeds. No, just you juice the lemon. Normally people throw the seeds out. Do not throw the seeds out. Throw them in your mouth, chew them up, swallow them down. Beautiful. Do it on a daily basis. You're going to start to notice your brain fog going away. And this is just like a little natural thing that's nice. 1 and then 2.
About the coffee, Emma,
Yeah.
Is it safe enough to do every day? And also, about 3 years ago, I had a colonoscopy, and the surgeon specialist said to me to stop doing it because she said you could perforate your bowel. She was totally against it. But I never
Good luck perforating your bowel. But no, the coffee enema is not okay to do every day. We put you on programs. Some people, it's 10 days straight, once a day. Some days it's 10 days straight, twice a day, depending on the severity of you, how much inflammation you have.
to do it every day.
But after 10 days, we need to take 2 weeks off.
Oh, okay.
And then I'm going to make sure your bowels are still moving really well because we have something called peristalsis. So you know how you see a snake move? That's kind of what happens to your intestines. When you're wanting to poop, your intestines go like this to get it going. And it's called peristalsis. But if I just do, and I've had clients who do coffee enemas for 2 years straight, and then they're like, I can't poop anymore. And I'm like, yeah, because you have taken your body's ability away from it. And so it's like people who go for colonics. I think colonics are absolutely fantastic. To get the weight out first, to get you feeling great and light so you can do this yourself, but you're going to somebody to make you poop.
Yeah.
I want to learn how to poop myself.
I've been doing it for a while, and I think I've noticed.
You did a little bit too much, darling, and so now it's time to back off. We got to really eat fresh, but like light, so emulsified food, not too much where it's digesting because you've slowed your peristalsis right down. And then we're going to take some daily cleansing tea, some tummy love, and your bowels are going to kick back on. Don't worry about...
How long do you think I should now, because I've done all this and it probably becomes sluggish, should I do the next?
I would probably go for the next 2 months and make sure your bowels are moving twice a day for the next 2 months. And if you're feeling, or even 30 days. If you have 30 days of okay, my bowels are finally moving again, great.
Yeah.
Then we can start incorporating coffee enemas again. And then I would say do 1 a day for 6 days on. For you, and then take a week off, and then go back and forth with it. But this is where you guys, I'm here for a lecture, but we have a phone number. Call the Doc of Detox. Hey, is Sage available? Yeah. Is Dr. Wolfe available? You're going to get me on the phone one day. If you call in and say, please get Dr. Wolfe to call me, please get Sage to call me, they'll give me your number, and I will get back to you on any issues you have. We are not, guys, we're not in it for us. We're not in it for you. We're in it for changing the world out there to be a little bit more self-aware. And so this is not a, you got this. No, it's a team effort. Let's do it together.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yes.
My sister has had really heavy periods, to the point where she only wears nighttime pads every day. And she'll get her period every 2 weeks.
Okay. Question, is she vaccinated?
Yes, but she had that issue
Even prior, yeah, but it's probably worse now. In general,
Yeah.
it is worse now. Yeah, so in general, It's probably worse now, but it was bad before. Now it's just over the edge. So I would go into non-surgical with her. I would go really hard into the diet with her, and then I'd be doing cell-sonic. We got to change some of her cellular structure over, and I want to flush some of that vaccine out of her spinal cord. So cell-sonic is an energy medicine device that puts 25,000 volts into each individual cell, and if it can't change the cell over, it will recreate a new cell for you. And so it's pretty much just reverting the body back to its original state. It was made to break down like gallstones and kidney stones. It's literally called the Stone Buster, but it also helps with calcification buildup and changing your cellular structure. Most vaccines will store within the spinal fluid because that's where most toxicity can lie. And so we would want to clean that out of her system. I'd want to get her gut biome into a really good state and then get her regulating properly, which is going to be doing maybe some like pelvic exercises as well.
What did you say in the beginning, sorry, before the cell-sonic?
What did I say? It's going to be on here. Okay. But like, please guys, contact me. Like if you have any questions, somebody wants to book in a consult, like we can work this out together. Because once one of our practitioners works with you, it is a lifetime of just like helping, figuring it out. We all got to come together. Yes, sir.
Calcification. I fractured my mid-thoracic spine in 1980.
Yeah.
And again in 1986. And again in 2002, all in accidents. And then again in 2014 in motor vehicle accident. So in my about T7 up.
Yeah.
I've got 3 vertebrae that I've lost 23% height in, and they're fused together.
Yeah, they're totally naturally fused at this point.
Constant pain.
Mm-hmm.
I've had no surgery on it. Is it possible to gain?
I could get you that flow going. I would tell you for me, I would say your partner, I want 15 treatments.
Yeah,
for me, but for me, I would put you through 6. And it would be, you're going to moan, groan, and scream because it's calcium. Yeah, she's going to push you. But like, it would be like 6 intense treatments to really open up those vertebrae. We could totally revert that.
Yeah,
you created it.
She's going to go out more.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
I'm excited to hear the results.
Yeah, so my hands are the same. I've shattered all these in one of the accidents and had pins all through them, which I didn't have removed.
Yep.
When I was younger, so I've got something in my hand here now I can't.
Dupin's contracture. So your tendons are starting to shorten, and now it is pulling down into the hand. And we call that trigger finger. Eventually it'll get stuck like this. So you're going to get Sybil to work it, but you're also...
It spasms and it'll go...
And it'll contract completely, and you'll get a little claw going. So the spasms, though, you could be lacking magnesium. So just say...
Definitely, I'll take a lot of magnesium.
Okay, good.
She's got me on that at home, so...
Well, we're on the right track. And then the shot glass is going to be huge. Or she'll know, but it's guasha stones, and you're going to get in there and strip that.
Yeah, I'll just give her a heap of money to buy it.
Beautiful. Anybody else before? Yes.
My eldest son chose to go and get vaccinated.
Okay.
But anyway, he went and did it as an adult.
Yeah.
But since he's had it, he's breaking out in rashes all
Yeah.
over his skin, and doctors have just put him on high dose cortisone,
Mm-hmm.
dozens of repeats, so they're not going to heal it. And yeah, it's like I put him on heaps of detoxing, heavy metal detoxing, a lot, and it's still coming back.
Cell-sonic. That's going to be the best for him. Yep. Yeah. For like any kind of like that injury, cell-sonic's the way to go. Spine. Yeah. And then doing non-surgical as well. Like to open it up first, then cell-sonic it. There's no better. We got this. And then the black diamond is going to be huge as well as just like keeping him on a pretty alkaline diet, and watch his stress levels. Stress sets everything off.
He's pretty chill.
Okay.
When I was younger, I actually tore all my ligaments off my